Hello, my name is William Abel, and this is Common Sense. I'd like to thank GCD Network for helping to sponsor this program. If you'd like to help sponsor this program as well, you can do so through Cash App at $Abel, ABEL, TX31. Once again, through Cash App, it's $Abel, ABEL, TX31. So I got a couple things I want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Austin Metcalf murder, which was done in Frisco, Texas. We're going to talk about some of these judges, the MS-13 gang member who was sent back to El Salvador, where he is a citizen. We're going to talk about the judge in New Mexico who resigned after authorities found an illegal immigrant living in his house. And I'm going to start the show off tonight with a little bit of good news. So the usdebtclock.org site that I go to go ahead and keep track of the national debt, the deficit, and everything else. They've added new stats here. So they got a Doge Clock showing how much money Doge has actually saved the taxpayers. And then 20% Doge dividend for 2026. And we'll get into those numbers first. Good news, I think there's a lot more that can be added to this, and hopefully they'll get to that soon. But so far, Doge has saved a total of $344,828,900,000, which breaks down to about $3,070 per taxpayer. The 20% Doge dividend for 2026, if they give it out, which there's been a lot of talk about. I haven't heard anything official come out yet with it. Something that Congress will have to do, so it may never happen because, let's face it, Congress is not doing their job. They haven't done their job in years, and there's really, I don't see anyone pushing for Congress to actually do their job. But 20% Doge dividend for 2026 would be $244,474,255,000, or $2,213 per taxpayer. So that'd be the refund that every taxpayer that paid taxes in 2025 would get back. So, a little bit of good news, and hopefully they continue going ahead and find a lot of the waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, because God only knows there's a hell of a lot more of it than what they've found so far. And we can get this taken care of. However, I expect Congress to go ahead and pass an omnibus bill once again, or try to at least. And with that, they're going to have a bunch of fraud, waste, and abuse, because that's what Congress does. So moving on, I'm going to talk about the Austin Metcalf killing and Carmelo Anthony. I'm sure everybody's heard about this by now. It's been like the top news story for like the last 2 weeks or so. If you haven't heard about it, basically they were both at a track meet. Austin Metcalf and his brother had went to Carmelo Anthony, was sitting underneath the umbrella tarp that was for their school and their team. It got heated. They got into a argument, escalated. Carmelo Anthony pulled out a knife, stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart, killing him. Now there's a big outpour of support for this for Carmelo Anthony. I've even heard something, and I haven't seen anything official about it, but that they're trying to push the blame on Austin's brother, twin brother, who was there with him by his side when he got stabbed in the heart and died, for starting the instigation. They actually had raised, I think, about $500,000. It's probably more by now for Carmelo Anthony, the kid who stabbed Austin in the heart. And his parents went out and decided to move because they said they feared for their safety. And they went off and, obviously had to buy a new car as well. So the house they moved into, they rented out a $900,000 house. And I think it was a new Escalade that they went out and bought. I'd have to verify on that. But they went out and got a new car with all this GoFundMe money they got. And you go around online and you see all these people supporting, Carmelo Anthony and all this. My question is why in the hell did he have a knife on him to begin with? going to a school sporting event. He was at a high school track event. He shouldn't have had a weapon on him at all. So even if you think, oh, well, you know, they teamed up on him, they bullied him and this and that. Okay, well, then fight it out. Get in trouble that way. But having a knife on you, there's no need for it. I mean, there was no need for it. You stabbed the kid in the heart, killed him. And now Carmelo Anthony's family's going on all the news stations and crying and talking about how they're the victims of this. I'm trying to make it make sense, and it makes no damn sense to me at all. But then again, there's a lot of things going on that make no sense. You know, on the same topic, we had a judge in New Mexico who resigned their post after authorities found an illegal immigrant living in their house. You wonder why the country's in the condition it is. It's because we have these activist judges. It's because no one is using common sense anymore. No one uses rational thinking. You know, you have the MS-13 member who's an El Salvadorian resident or citizen. He was deported by the Trump administration. He has ties to MS-13. It came out that his wife had filed a protective order against him, and he had domestic violence charges against him. So he gets shipped over back to El Salvador, where he came from. They go ahead and they put him in prison, and now we have members of our Senate, the U.S. Senate, going down to El Salvador to fight for his release and bring him back to the U.S. You have judges saying, you need to go ahead and take this illegal immigrant who's back in his home country and bring him back to the U.S. How in any universe does any of this make any sense at all? Because I'm trying to figure it out, and I just cannot comprehend how any of it makes any sense. So U.S. judges are telling the El Salvadorian president that they need to send their citizen back to the U.S., and the Democrats are running around talking about, oh, he's a Maryland father. No, he's an illegal immigrant living in Maryland from El Salvador. He is back home. He is back in El Salvador. He's got ties to MS-13. It's like, I don't see them going out and championing and fighting this hard for American citizens. Unless it's a friggin' WNBA basketball player in Russia, where you have other prisoners over that, you know, we had other prisoners in Russia at the time. They were ignored. It was all about going against the celebrity because she supported them. And I'm telling you, it's just, it completely blows my mind what's going on in this country. You know, we sit back and we wonder, how did this country get this way? It's because people let it happen. We keep electing quote unquote representatives who have no backbone. They don't have a pair. And they go ahead and allow this insanity to go on over and over again. You don't see them fighting each other. You'll see them fighting in front of the cameras, and as soon as the cameras turn off, they go ahead and you're sitting there at the bar drinking with each other, laughing about how stupid the American people are. It's time we go ahead and start getting better representatives and actually going ahead and holding them accountable when they're not doing what we want them to do. Because remember, they work for us. They're paid with our tax dollars. They are supposed to be taking our concerns and our issues up to Washington and make sure they're addressed. But yet they don't do that. I've talked about this time and time again. I'm going to talk about it again because honestly, it's important. You know, all these members of Congress, they always go ahead and run on the same exact issues year after year. And they always come back and they tell you, oh, I just need one more term and I'll be able to solve these issues. And those are taxes. It's healthcare, abortion, guns, border security, immigration. But yet, Democrats have had complete control of the government. You've had Republicans have complete control of the government, and yet nothing gets done. What happens is the president will sign an executive order, for a stopgap, a short-term solution. Because when the next president comes in from the opposing party, they go ahead and they reverse them and do away with them. Just like Biden did, just like Trump did, and so forth. And that's been going on for years. Members of Congress don't do shit. If you go ahead, you don't believe me, look back. All right. The Congress will go ahead and, like I keep telling people, they will go ahead and do investigations that lead nowhere. It don't matter what the investigation reveals. They do investigations. They'll go ahead and put it on the news and be like, see, this person's guilty. This organization is corrupt. They don't do anything about it. And they'll ride that out until roughly around the time of when it's time to do the spending bills. And then they're like, oh, well, we didn't have enough time to get the spending bills done. Then they go ahead, they do a continuing resolution. You're like, okay, we're going to push it back till December, and then we're going to get all 12 appropriation bills passed, and we're going to have a budget. And then come December, then you have the whole scare tactic of, oh, they're going to shut down the government. What are we ever going to do? Honestly, if we shut down the government at this point in time, it'd probably be the best damn thing for us, because it's not like they're doing shit anyways. But I digress. They wait till the end of December, and then they pass a last-minute omnibus bill. And they go ahead and they come back and they tell you, oh, well, you know, we had to do it this year. We didn't have a choice. But next year, we're going to fix this. And then you rinse and repeat. And then, obviously, your second year, if you're talking about the House of Representatives, a majority of that time is spent campaigning. If you have a representative that will actually come to your district and talk to people. Me, in my district right now, I'm in the 31st district in Texas, which is current representative. I use that term loosely when I speak about the guy, is John Carter. No, he'll avoid it. He'll say, oh, I'm busy in D.C., even though D.C., everyone's left D.C. on break. And you can look up their schedule and see how much damn time they have off. And then he'll go to a fundraiser. It's like, I know the last election for 23 or for 24, we had all kinds of groups and different organizations within our district put on, debates or, question and answer sessions, whatever you want to call them. Because we didn't really do debates per se here. It was more of a kind of interview, question and answer type thing. And every other candidate, minus the incumbent, would show up, and one other candidate. It was a John Anderson. He kind of got in the race late in November and everything, and he just didn't make it to a lot of the events. John Carter, he'd blow off these events hosted by the different organizations in the district, and then you'd find out later he went to a fundraiser to go ahead and sit there with the people that support him. So he wouldn't have to face the people that actually don't like him and want something to change. But then again, he gets the same amount of votes every time for some reason. Even though, when I was out campaigning, I had so many damn people. And I know the other candidates that were running in the race as well. There was a total of 6 people running, including myself. And every one of these candidates had talked to different people, and they're like, they said, hey, they voted for Carter last time. They're like, they're done with him. He's too old. He's not doing anything. He's not fighting for what we need. Yeah, they're not voting for him this time. But somehow he ends up getting the same amount of votes every damn election. Of course, we have the electronic voting systems, which me personally, I'd prefer paper ballots, sequentially numbered, and going ahead and hand counting. I think that's the most efficient way. I think that's the best way to go ahead and run our elections, because with computers, just like every computer in the world, every one of them can be hacked. And when they tell you it's impossible for it to get hacked, they're lying to you. I've actually seen multiple different ways in which they can be hacked. And it is very real. If it was truly an unhackable computer system, then they'd be using them everywhere. And it's funny because they'll tell you, oh, it's not connected to the internet, but yet you see them connected to the internet. So, we as the constituents and we as a majority in this country, we need to go ahead and start fighting. We need to make sure our voice is heard, and we need to stop accepting, well, it's just the way it is. We'll get them next time. We'll get them next time. We need to hold these representatives, quote unquote representatives, accountable. Like this year, we have John Cornyn coming up for re-election in the Senate. That guy's been garbage for as long as I can remember. I remember, I think after it was after a school shooting, the Democrats were pushing a gun control bill. And this is a tactic that they always use. And I'm not sure if these quote unquote Republicans are that stupid, or if they just don't care, or maybe they want the same thing, but they're afraid to go ahead and support it because they know their constituents will turn against them. But Democrats, they'll try and take a mile on an issue. When they can't get that, they'll be like, all right, well, just give me 10 feet then. Republicans cave in, give them the 10 feet, and then they rinse and repeat. They'll do it again. They'll be like, oh, well, give us this mile. Oh, okay, well, just give us another 10 feet then. That's why we got a lot of these gun control laws that we got in this country today, which in my personal opinion are unconstitutional. But when we have weak representatives, this is what we get. And we got no one to blame for it but ourselves, because they can run as many times as they want. But if we keep electing them, then it's our fault that we're letting these people go ahead and do what they do. We can't keep doing this. We have to go ahead and go out and talk to people. Make people aware of what's going on. That's pretty much what I try doing with this podcast here is, I may not reach, millions of people, but if I can just reach about 50 people, 100 people, 1,000, whatever number I can reach and get them the message, get them information, and I can go ahead and get it passed on, have them pass the information on to other people. That's how we go ahead and build up momentum to go ahead and get actual change. If you look at what Congress has done this year, they really haven't done anything. And we have the White House, we have the Senate, we have the House of Representatives, but yet we're not really getting any bills through. We haven't passed any bills for border security. We passed some executive orders, which is great. And then all these members of Congress and Senate are going to come back and count that as a win for themselves and take credit for it, even though the second Trump leaves office, and let's say a Democrat gets elected, God forbid, but if a Democrat gets elected, they're going to sign their name to another executive order getting rid of everything that Trump did. So why are we not doing this now that we actually have a majority? We can get it done, and we can get everything, we can get all this stuff done. I mean, we have everything set up. If we had true representation, we had true conservatives serving in our Congress, we can get a lot of this stuff implemented in the law. But they're not trying. Because once again, like I was talking about before I got sidetracked, you have those 5 issues that they constantly run on. And if they solve one of those issues, then they got to actually look for another issue. And then they got to figure out what stance they're going to take to try and get reelected. Because it's not about solving the problems. All it is, once you get in office, it's about getting reelected time and time and time again. So yes, could they solve these issues? Absolutely. Could they have been solved years and years ago? Absolutely. But if you solve them, you can't run on them again. That's why when you talk to, if you can go ahead and actually see your representative or have any kind of communication with them, whether in person, through email, phone, whatever, when you ask them a question, they tell you, well, we're really close, we're right on the edge of getting this passed, and if you reelect me, We'll get it through. I know we can get it now. That's also why I'm a firm believer in term limits. Because right now, with no term limits in place, like I said, we went through the list last week, and we were talking about how long these people have been in office. I think the longest was like 48 years. I think there were a couple up there, or yeah, I think it was around 48 years. And we went down to like 20 years, I believe. And then, you still have people underneath that. They've been up there for 48 years, 30 years, 20 years, whatever, and they never solved any of these issues. But yeah, they keep getting reelected. Is it because we honestly believe that they're going to actually solve these problems? Is it because we think, well, this time they're going to get it done? No. If you don't get something done within the first, I'd say 8 to 12 years, you're not going to get it done. It's time for you to go ahead and get to the, step out, let somebody new come in, take a different approach, or try finding a solution that you can get the support to get it passed. But we don't do that. And then the incumbents have the benefit of getting money from the treasury, and they get all kinds of incentives. So, like, I know in my district, when you go out to the meetings and you go to all these different clubs and everything, some of them you can go up there and you can state your name and state what office you're running for, and that's it. That cannot say another thing. Other ones, you get about a minute, maybe two, to go ahead and run through your entire platform. So talking about the issues, solutions, and everything. I mean, you're running through it so fast that you really don't have time to give the people a great overall view of what problems you see and what solutions you can bring to the table. But as the incumbent, they'll go out there and they'll get an entire hour to speak. They can talk about everything and anything they want to. They can smooze you and all this. And then you also have the groups that, oh, well, he donated more money than you did, so we're going to go ahead and back this guy. And then they run around talking about how great this guy is. And as soon as he gets reelected, they run around and talk about what a shitty job he's doing. But as long as it keeps paying them, they're going to go ahead and keep shrilling for him. And I've seen it with multiple groups in my district and some of the county parties I've seen do this. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, we have no one to blame but ourselves. And if you don't know who the candidates are, if you don't know who the incumbent is, then you really need to go ahead and start doing your research and looking into it now. I know with John Cornyn, he's got about 8 different challengers right now. And the latest one was Ken Paxton, the current attorney general for Texas. And I'm hoping that he wins it. I was actually hoping that Sid Miller would go ahead and throw his hat into the ring, who was agricultural commissioner here in Texas. And he was also a former state rep. He was actually the state rep for my district years ago. I was hoping he'd throw his hat in the ring, but he didn't. Ken Paxton did, which I would prefer keeping him as the attorney general of Texas. But someone needs to step up, and I'm glad he did. And I'm going to go ahead and do everything I can to try and help him get elected, because I think he would be 100 times better than what we currently have with John Cornyn. For the race against John Carter, the House of Representative or congressman from my district. Currently, I know of 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 4. Yeah, 4 people running against. There were 5. One had to back out for personal reasons. So there's a total of 4 I know right now that are running. And then once I get everything set up and everything and get with the FEC and following everything, I'll be the 5th candidate. So it'll be a total of 6 as of right now. There's always room for someone to jump in. Like I said, the last cycle, it was a total of 4 challengers, and then in November, some guy just went and filed with the Republican Party of Texas, threw his name on the ballot. I don't think any of us had met him until right around early voting, and then we some of the people ran into him at some of the polling locations. So I mean, you never know, but you gotta make an effort to get out there, go to your county party meetings, go to a lot of counties have different clubs and organizations. I know we got a Central Texas Tea Party here. I've been to those meetings. Those are real good, fun, interesting meetings. They're held in Bell County. Williamson County has multiple different groups and organizations. So even if you don't really fit in with the county party, there's normally a bunch of grassroots groups and other groups that you can go ahead and get involved with. And the key thing is go out there, check them out, see if it's for you. If not, try finding another one. You might be able to find one that works. I know there's some counties I go to where it seems like the party, all they want to do is collect money from you. When I went and did door knocking, I met some very strong, smart, educated conservatives who were blue collar workers. And they said, we don't go to these meetings because all they want is money from us. If we can't give them, throw down a couple $1,000s, for this event or that event, they want nothing to do with us and they treat us like crap. And unfortunately, I've noticed that with some of the county meetings I've been to in different areas. But like I said, even in those counties, you do have some groups that'll meet up, and they are more about getting solutions to the issues. So get involved. And once again, if you decide that you might want to run for office, if you have any questions at all, you can always email me. My email is william.abel, abel.tx31@gmail.com. That's William, WILLIAM, Abel, ABEL, TX31@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to go ahead and assist anybody with any questions they have, help them out, trying to navigate with the FEC. And then if you're running for a federal office, if you're running for like Congress, you'll get a letter in the mail from their ethics board, which is a joke if you ask me, but they'll ask you about any assets you have or anything like that. And fill it out. And like I said, I'd be more than happy to help you out because I believe that we need new blood in Congress. Because if not, we're going to keep going through the cycle over and over and over again. No, excuse me. My time's almost up here tonight, but actually, I'm going to touch on one more thing, and that was the news that came through this morning about the Pope passing away. Now, I was raised a Roman Catholic. Honestly, I did not agree with 90% of what this Pope had to say or do. Because I'm a firm believer of what's written in the Bible, we should stick by. We shouldn't change it. We shouldn't go ahead and be like, oh, yeah, it was bad then, but now it's okay. And this Pope happened to do this, in my opinion, way too often. I now go to a Methodist church. And while I did not agree with him, I do not wish death upon anybody. So, hopefully, he will rest in peace. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't agree with it. And I think we have too many people that want to push instead of reading the Bible and actually living by the word written in the Bible. They want to make adjustments just to go ahead and have a following. And you see that online a lot too. I've seen plenty of Christian TikTok videos, Facebook videos and stuff like that, where people will go ahead and take different things like the LGBTQ community, and they'll be like, oh yeah, no, it's not a sin anymore. We love y'all. Hey, come on in. Hey, we're going to throw a Catholic gay pride parade. And yeah, that strictly goes against what the Bible teaches. So I don't really agree with him, but at the same time, never wish him any ill, no harm. So hopefully he can rest in peace. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So as always, God bless America, God bless Texas, and God bless each and every one of you. Until next week, I hope you all have a wonderful week.